Hey guys, my name is Kyoshi Perez. I'm a student in the class of Human Trafficking, and I give to you today a presentation on organ trafficking. I hope that you guys learned something out of it, and I'm basically be going over the kind of ins and outs of what exactly organ trafficking is, what it can be, what it could be, how you could spot a victim, who they are, and just kind of things of that nature. Um, I will ask, I hope you guys can bear with me at the fact that my voice is a little shaky, only because I'm getting over a cold, so just bear with me. Alright, so what exactly is organ trafficking? People may ask, maybe not you guys because you're in this class, but your basic, everyday, average bystander that's going to Publix, shopping for the groceries, may not fully understand and fully grasp the concept of organ trafficking. So, organ trafficking is basically the illegal trade of human organs and or body parts that, traffickers give empty promises to, and also, the cost of body parts and pints of blood can range anywhere from $100 to $700,000. Scratch that 100K because that's not right. It's $100 to $700,000 that it can range from. Also, organ trafficking deals with internal issues from the person that may need the organ themselves, not necessarily the person, the donator. Um, and the supply and demand ratio is outrageous. Okay, just like totally outrageous. Um, if you look at the chart, it's gonna be in one of the slides later on. A lot of the people who are donating are coming from these third world countries like China or South America or even Africa, places where there's not a lot of civilization going on. And the people who need these organs happen to be in Canada, the United States, um, sometimes even Europe. So if you really look at it, the demographics are kind of, in my honest opinion, kind of crazy to see that people need these organs and there's not enough people donating it. So that's always good to become an organ donator on your driver's license. So get to that if you haven't already. Alright, so victims and the traffickers, honestly, their relationships can range anywhere from being like total BFFs to being complete and utter strangers. So one day you could be having coffee with this person, and the next day you're like their victim, unfortunately. Or you could be walking down, the alley or down Calle Ocho in the dark, and then all of a sudden you're kidnapped and you become a victim, unfortunately. So these victims are often vulnerable adults and or children, and the traffickers will give you empty promises to lure you into this job that they have going from somebody else. Um, and that victim seeks freedom from poverty because nobody wants to be stuck in a situation where they don't want to be stuck in. Instead, they want to be free, have the money to do whatever they please, have the money to support their family, support themselves, to get ends to meet. So these traffickers seek money, and so these traffickers seek money, and therefore they seek these victims that are totally helpless, and that's how they get their victims. That or they kidnap them, unfortunately, and they go about their day. Once that job is done, they're on to the next one to go find a new victim to prey on and a new one to cut open and steal all of their essentials that they need. Alright, so we're going to talk some numbers because everybody always wants to know numbers and they always talk about them. So that's what we're going to do here. So your body is way more worth than what you would expect. I know that when I saw this picture for the first time, I was most definitely shocked. So we're going to go through some of them, not all of them, because you can definitely read. But your hand and forearm go for about $400. Your spleen can go for about $500. A stomach is another $500. Um, Look at this one. Skin is $10 per square inch of skin. Now that is insane. That's a lot of money if you really think about it per square inch. Anyway, so up to 10% of organ transplants are performed illegally, more often by malpractice practitioners that were previously surgeons that caught a bad case. Um, and the victims often don't see this money that is given to you right here on the picture. Instead, they're given the street. They're thrown on a street and they're not given any money. They're not seeing any type of money at all. And if they do, that's a rare case. Also, I know that last little bullet point says China is involved in the trade business of organs. I found an article and I will link it to the actual Blackboard posting so you can find it there. But this article has some crazy stuff about how China um, ended up using executed prisoners and took their organs and sold it off into the black market for these human trafficking, organ trafficking purposes. So if you want to know more about that, you can go ahead and check out the link that I'm going to post in the Blackboard posting, and just read it because it is nuts, nuts, guys. Alright, so I'm going to go through this slide fairly quickly, only because I kind of went through it throughout the whole presentation already, and it kind of, any human trafficking target kind of correlates to any type of human trafficking itself. Um, More often, it's poor people, or young children, homeless, elder people who are helpless. Um, and that's really about it. Again, here's the picture. You can go ahead and pause this video if you really want to take a look at the picture and see what's on this whole map of. Alright, so where does it exactly happen? Nobody knows. But it's an international issue, so it's happening globally. Um, it's happening in China, within the country itself. It's happening in Africa, within the country itself. Even your local neighborhood. It could be Miami Lakes. It could be Homestead. It could be, I don't even know, Gainesville, for instance. I know we have some people in the class from like California. Like it's happening over there too. Alright, so like the slide says, it's happening in busy cities, dark streets, alleyways. When you come home from the bar, be careful where you walk because you never know. You could be the next victim. Just take that extra precaution to not be one. Alright, so like any other human trafficking victim, organ trafficking victims also deal with relatively the same issues as the other categories, are classes of human trafficking. They deal with depression, stress, anxiety, health issues, trust issues, death. Because it is organ trafficking, there's a lot of malpractice practitioners that do these things because they're still getting paid an enormous amount of money to do these procedures. And with that being said, they don't care. Nowadays, it's 2017, guys. Nobody cares about health. I mean, some people do. But a lot of people are in it for money. In the black market industry, a lot of them are in it for money. And they don't care what happens to you, so long as they get the check in the end. Alright, so the recovery and the final slide, guys, done talking your ear off, is professional medical help. There's kind of like I wouldn't say a halfway home, but kind of like a halfway home for organ trafficking victims and for human trafficking victims themselves. Sorry about that. There's also therapy and, of course, the Western way of healing medicine. So I hope you guys learned kind of the general idea of what organ trafficking is, who the victims are, and what they deal with, and the prices, and just kind of the general idea. All right, guys. So you guys.